Jay and I were kayaking on a lake, but we understood it to be the Halifax harbor. We had no paddles, so we were paddling on our stomachs with our hands as if on a surfboard. C came by with a boat, and we asked him if he had paddles. We got into the boat to look, but we couldn't find them. We found lots of things shaped like paddles, but they were all wrong, some flimsy metal or too bulky. C said he wanted to order Subway delivery to the boat and asked if we wanted any. We said no, but asked if we could stick around for a bit. He said it was fine, so we did. Then eventually AS showed up with her crew, KP, AM, and someone I didn't know. I offered them pieces of the chocolate I had, but it crumbled and got mixed up as I tried to share it. Some of it was the Ritter's marzipan chocolate LH bought for me at the opening, which I hadn't intended to share. I started getting antsy and decided to leave. As we were going, I talked about how AL's hair is getting too long and advised C not to grow his out much longer than it is now. At this point, it was suddenly down to his armpits. The setting had changed to my parents' entryway, and I was sitting on the stairs with P and AW. C left, and I worried to the other two that I had been weird. They assured me that social interactions are ever-changing. Suddenly, I was rollerblading at an outdoor facility, but the attendants stopped the activity for a trivia game. I left to look at an informational plaque and saw an old picture of P's mom on the plaque as a kid. When I looked back at the trivia game, all the kids had left before the last question.
I walked through a day-lit street in a town of large Victorian houses. I was required to reach the end of the street. I traveled down the right side of the street where there was a construction crew working on a house. I killed each of them and continued on and found my parents. We were in a large office space with many gaps in the floors and more construction workers. My father gave me a paper file and told me to keep it safe. I walked across to the other side of the building looking for a way out, encountering many kind elderly women along the way. A young woman in a business suit watched many television screens, reiterated that the paper file was extremely important. The dream transitioned to a new situation. I was in an enormous building that was a school, but had formerly been an office. I was at the top floor in an archive that had been a meat locker. I knew a tall man was looking for me and wanted me dead. An elderly woman helped me navigate around, looking for a way out. The building was empty of people and defied the laws of physics. Each floor was a large circular mezzanine with doors leading off to the outside, and in the inside space was an enormous circular nature reserve hundreds of feet across and far below. Each floor had a different biome: tundra, forest, desert, wetland, etc. The tall man found us and we escaped the building, encountering two other people, a young boy and girl. Outside of the building was a desert-like arid environment in Southwest America: dry, flat ground, cacti, mesas, etc. The tall man lost track of us and we boarded a train. We had a brief period of peace and the train stopped in front of a large postmodern house. The outside did not match the inside, however, which was of a decrepit Victorian mansion. Exploring, I found in the attic a white, featureless human figure. When I touched it, it came to life and jumped out through the window.
My father turns to a lobster, and that day I opened my door. I just saw my father wearing his pants, but his face looks like a lobster's face, and also his arms are turned to the very different way of creature, but he talked to me. I don't know what he talked, but he talked to me a lot and continued to said something to me, but I just want to run away from him, and I suddenly went to my room and locked my door. I hid in my bedroom, and I found the sky is turning darker and darker.
I was late to teach my aerial class, so I tried running, but I couldn't get any traction on the ground, and there weren't enough trees on the commons for me to grab onto to use my arms to pull myself forward.
We were all in the intermedia studio at the top of the Academy building, moving around, talking. I was sitting. I was saying something. Then I felt like my shoulders are being massaged. But then I thought, that can't be real. And I thought, that just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be appropriate here. But it was real, I realized. And I tried to turn around to say, what are you doing? And I heard Steve, standing by the side of the bed, say, I'm trying to wake you up. Your alarm went off 10 minutes ago.
There was a big red blowfish type of creature with eyes bulging on the side of his head. I was at the perspective of being right in its mouth, and it looked like I was looking at it through a fish-eye lens. I fell into the mouth of the blowfish, and then I was in a go-kart with my two sisters, except the faces of us weren't us, but I still knew that it was us. We were on our go-kart and going through a Mario Kart course. The course kept going around and around. All of a sudden, we had to start running from something. I can't remember what we were running from, but it was a danger and we were running really fast. We started going through an abandoned cityscape, and at the top of the elevators of a building, there was a new world that we had to get to be safe. The walk to the new world was really long and we never made it.
I'm traveling through a German city made of canals and tall buildings on a large, flat boat. And there's nowhere to lay my bedroll. There's lots of strange lights and tunnels, and the boat is like moving fast out of the city. At one point we get to an impressive tunnel, and everyone is really excited, but I don't understand why. At roller derby practice, I don't care who is near me. We're in a smaller gym than usual. I'm practicing being a jammer. Fast, hard. My breathing is too slow. I get discouraged. I spend some time in a desert. I think it's at night, noticing how dry the air is in the dark.
At this point, this is where the symphony should come in. Nick, Mom, and I were at home. But home was a nice open concept cabin with beds everywhere. Nick was complaining with my mom that he didn't want to sleep in his bed upstairs, that he would rather sleep in another bed. I defended his choice by explaining how boredom has kept myself up at night. Nick and I then went downstairs, where we brought a table into the living room because I was in need of an exorcism because I wasn't feeling well. I passed a mirror. I didn't look well. We then realized we needed to hurry up and catch the bus if we wanted to make it to school on time. So we rushed and grabbed our things. I put on more deodorant, and then we rushed out the door. I was then at a strip mall with Felix. I had gone into the Elmo dog costume store. It was a very hipster kind of store, with nice wooden wall panel designs everywhere. Very modern. I left and started walking to find Felix and his car. I called him. He was over at Eastside Mario's. I passed some pavers who were paving the parking lot, and I entered the building. He was sitting on the floor to my right. I was then in a room with a bunch of people, friends of mine apparently, and I was a tall black guy, and we were all completely naked. Everyone began taking turns making out with everyone. It felt weird, but I couldn't feel that spark like I always feel when I kiss Felix. One of the girls left. We all said goodbye.